Welcome to the court. This is Acker at Basketball.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Acker at Basketball podcast. You're here once again with your number one father-son duo when it comes to anything ASUN men's basketball. I'm your co-host, Curtis D. Acker.
Co-host Mark Acker over here.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. Probably past Thanksgiving.
Yes, we are
past
past
had a good
Thanksgiving at this point.
We certainly did, or I certainly did.
Oh, yeah. It was great. Even though I was working the whole time, I loved the family being in town here.
Yep. We saw some family members that we don't see a ton of. Had a lot of great home-cooked food.
Yes.
Homemade food. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And great conversations, and just good to have that presence right in our home.
Right. And so with that thankfulness, we're going to switch it up a little bit for episode 16 here. We're going to start off with kind of we're not really doing the Acorn's Attic this week, although that kind of was our Acorn's Attic right there. We do got the 3 Bible verses, though. So 1 Thessalonians 5:18. These are out of the King James Version. In everything, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Then Psalms 118:1. We got, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, because his mercy endureth forever. And then Philippians 4:6. So be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. So something that, think about as you maybe look for a deeper spiritual connection. So we started off with God in Christ this week. We're going to move into what we got going on, which is basketball here. Austin Peay 4-3 on the week. Just so you guys know, we got a SIM card issue. My SIM card broke today. The one that we typically use, we're using a much smaller one, so we're going to kind of rifle through it for you guys this week. Not as deep as it was last week. They did end up losing to Tulsa 84-75 on the 21st. Then on the 25th, turned it around, got a nice victory against Northern Illinois. 77-59 was that score. Colin Parker, after the game, he said, hey, we were letting them go right in the first. They're all right-handed. We switched it up, let them go left.
Yeah, and it totally worked for them. So it really changed the complexion of the game.
I think they shot like 9% from 3 at the end of
there.
In that second half, yeah. Exactly. I'm talking about the Huskies there.
Right.
What's coming up for them, though? They're going to Kent to play the Kent State Golden Flashes. 6-1 is what they're currently at. And, that's going to be a tough game because they did beat EKU a couple weeks ago, 93 to 78 against a team that pushes pace. Typically, they got pace pushed on them by the Golden Flashes. So, really, really high offensive firepower team here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Austin Peay can compete with that pace.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, right? They can they keep it up? Love the stat of Peay defending the arc at 28%, and Kent State shoots 30 a game.
Yeah.
So that's a great matchup to see who wins that battle
at
the arc.
And they won it against Northern Illinois, who was a good 3-point shooting team last week.
Exactly. Right.
So I wanna pick Austin Peay in this one really badly.
Yeah.
Also as well, just one thing I want to talk about. Austin Peay though has lost every game that they've let an opponent score more than 65.
Right.
So with Kent State having such a dynamic offense, they're really going to have to get it done at the defensive end if they want this to be a win. What do you think?
Yeah. I was kind of thinking the other way around, that Austin Peay's scoring, they're getting scoring from many right now, and again, a different variety of ways. So, like, for example, Tate McCubbin last game drove to the hole, got hammered on, popped up, like it was great.
Something you've been looking for a while.
Looking for rather than spotting up and really more focusing on the 3. He drives. That's going to open up the game for himself and for his teammates even more. That I think they're doing a great job of spacing now. Zaire Collins didn't play the second half last game.
Yes. We're not sure what's going on, if he's fully injured or not, but hopefully he's not.
And Shakori stepped in great for that as well.
Yes.
So I got a close loss also. I've said like a 5-point game. I think it's going to be a good contest.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's going to be a very, very, very close loss. 0-1 week for Austin Peay, but it's going to be a great game. That one's definitely one to mark on the calendars.
Yes.
Next up, Bellarmine 3-4. So November 24th, they ended up getting a win against the Citadel, 70-58, and then also once again 74-69 on the 25th against Houston Christian. Then they were supposed to have another game on the 29th this month.
Right.
That one ended up getting canceled because what'd you say it was?
It's a winter storm warning coming in Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely not going to happen there. And then They're going to have a December 3rd game, though. That one is on the calendar against Midway. That's the Kentucky team that's not Division I. They did end up playing Eastern Kentucky earlier in the season. That was a 122-60 loss is what that ended up being. I think that was the second highest margin EKU's ever won by.
Oh, wow.
So no real question for me here. I think that ends up being a win for the Knights.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 2-0 this past week. I think what we saw earlier in the year for Bellarmine, where they're starting to click, they've got a really good flow going, a good starting 5-6 players that are really jiving together.
Yes.
It carries over in this one, certainly, in my mind. So
yeah, I like that. Let's save our prediction for the very end of everything. Like we'll spew what we think about the team, and then we'll we'll drop that prediction at the very end before we move on.
Yes.
Central Arkansas 3-4. They ended up getting 2 W's this week, 92-65 on the 23rd against Eastern Washington. Great job forcing turnovers in that one. They forced 21. Then 81-60 victory over Eastern Illinois. The defensive presence was there once again that game. They figured it out on the defensive end. John Schulman, every single defensive play, he's got the arms up in the head coach, John Schulman, up in the air. Get them ready to go. All the players are up on the bench, getting everyone hyped. This is a team unit right now. I think they've really gelled together, and I think that stems from the head coach down. Right. Just because of how personable John Schulman is. Well, not just because of that, but a big reason for it. Like, after the post game, he was with Cam Hunter. He was like, hey, all these guys were brought in to score. I don't know why we couldn't score at the start of the year, but it clearly wasn't because of their looks. And he pointed right at Cam.
That was nice.
They just, and Cam, I can't remember what Cam said, but he gave him a little dig back towards the end of it. It's a team unit. I'm excited with what they got going forward here. They're going to play against East Tennessee State, who's 5-1 coming into this game. And then they're going to be playing December 3rd against Little Rock for the I-40 Showdown. That's going to be a fun one as well.
Yeah,
so what do you see, or what do you think for this team moving forward here?
Well, I predicted them to lose both games last week and kind of thought they weren't gelling as of yet. And clearly the results were exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So really good to see. Now they're actually now second in the ASUN on field goal percentage against defensively. So they've really stepped it up in that regard, which I think, and pretty balanced offense. Kind of Cam's leading the way, but there's several that are contributing to the scoring.
I watched both of these games this past week. The defense led to the offense this week
which
for the Bears.
That can translate anywhere.
Yes.
When you can score off your create scoring off of your defense.
Right.
Good step forward.
ETSU's just on fire though. 5-1. They beat UNA earlier in the year.
Right.
Yeah.
They shoot 50%. Their shooting percentage is 50% of their field goals.
All field goals? Wow.
Yeah, total.
Yeah, great shooting team as well.
Right.
So they're going to have a good defensive game if they want this to end up being a win.
Exactly.
Against Little Rock, though, Little Rock turns the ball over 17 times per contest, as we just saw last week. The Bears now know how to disrupt defensively. The blitz was working really well. That two-man pressure, that pinch that you put right at the start of right when they cross over half court.
Right.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's gonna be.
And Little Rock struggles to score just in general, right? They're 68, I think it is scoring.
Right. So what you got for the week?
So I went with 1-1. I think East Tennessee ETSU is going to be just a little too tough game, but I think they're going to roll on Little Rock. Give it like a 15-point win.
Oh, nice. I also got 1-1 as well. So I think in the exact same way. I don't know. Maybe if it's going to be that big against Little Rock. But yeah, no, just because it's an I-40 battle, there's always kind of that little extra emphasis on both sides.
Yes.
For something like that. But yeah, 1-1 is what I got. I hope it's 2-0 week. That's what I hope for every team here is. It's always a win for ASUN teams. It's the teams that we cover. Of course, I'm gonna want them to win.
Right.
Moving into EKU, so 1-5 right now. Went 0-2 last week. Dropped one to Mercer on the 22nd, 95-83. And then also went to Northern Kentucky for Highland Heights and lost 82-71. Although I think it was a much better game in that second game. EKU's kind of starting to figure things out a little bit. I know Montavious Myrick wasn't in that second game at all, which definitely hurt them. I would say maybe kind of like what we talked about versus Western Kentucky. If he was healthy and in the game, might have gotten that W. It could have been the same in this one here.
And Tyler Jackson, I believe, too, did not appear in that second game against Northern Kentucky.
Right. So, but moving into next week, 29th, a lot of teams playing on the 29th and the 3rd this kind of upcoming week here. Wofford, who's 4-3 right now, and Eastern Illinois on the third. They're 5-2. Oh man, they're tough opponents that Eastern Kentucky's playing against this week, and not a good week to be playing against tough opponents when the teams just hasn't gelled the way that we expected.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, totally agree. Wofford really does a good job. We were at one of their games, right? Really does a good job of distributing the ball. Kicking it inside.
Little turkey coming up there.
A little turkey coming up, exactly. But they also give up points. So can Eastern Kentucky
take advantage of that?
They are a good dynamic offensive team. Of course, again, assuming that they're fully healthy.
Right.
If Myrick and Jackson aren't there, it's even tougher. So that.
Yeah.
Illinois State, the big stat for me there, that they defend the arc really well. They're actually number 5 in the nation.
And with
number 5, 23.4% field goal percentage against.
And with EKU being first,
and
tied for that.
And EKU shoots a lot of threes. They do it pretty well, but they
33.3
from get the ball into Myrick, kick it out. Right, so that's a great matchup to see who's gonna win that battle. Right, there.
That's gonna be the deciding factor for sure.
I think so.
Or at least one of the main deciding factors. Wofford did just beat 2 ASUN teams recently as well. Just another thing I want to throw out there: beat Bellarmine and North Florida. So I think it's going to be an 0-2 week for Eastern Kentucky. As much as I don't want to say that, I picked them 2-0 last week. I think they're just skill-wise on paper, they're one of, if not the best team in the conference.
Right.
I
still believe that
as well. It's just not coming together right now. Yeah. I just think it needs to gel. But what do you got for record?
I'm gonna go 1-1. Their backs are against the wall. I think they're gonna.
Who are they getting the win against?
Occasion. So I went with the road team winning both games. How about that?
That's funny.
Yeah, I went with a loss to Wofford as they host there, and then but beating Illinois State.
Okay.
Illinois State nickname, real quick. Boom.
Redbirds.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the FGCU Eagles, another bird team, ended up having a great Geico Coconut Hoops 93-88 victory over Oral Roberts on the 24th. The 25th, they beat Rice 78-63, a big showing out game for Ellerby, and then another big showing out game for Ellerby. Ended up being 102-100 loss in overtime. I think Rice game was overtime as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 overtime games.
Yeah, and Ellerby 43 points in that final game there on the 25th.
Right.
Oh man. Would have been nice if they were able to pull out the victory in that
Someone called that one. I don't know who that was.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you went perfect on that. Great call from last week. December 3rd, they are going to be playing against Florida International. That's their only game upcoming this week. FIU is currently 3-3.
Right.
Just coming into this game, mid-majors is what all mid-major games that FIU has lost, they've allowed over 40 rebounds for the other team there. With FGCU, it's just over 41 per game.
Okay.
One of the better teams in the country at getting rebounds, and obviously I think they're 11th right now in offensive rebounds per game. So for me, that's a huge number coming into this game here.
Sure.
Could be a big deciding factor here.
Yep, agreed.
How about you? What were your deciding factors?
Well, I like that Florida International actually shoots the ball more than the Eagles do somehow.
That's
it's
crazy.
70-69 or somewhere in that neighborhood, but. Boy, so again, kind of like the Kennesaw State game where they're both high-scoring teams. They'll shoot a lot of pace. Florida International forces a lot of turnovers. The Eagles are very good at managing the ball, so it's a really good matchup as well. Along with rebounding is always an interesting one. I love the
who wants it more
advantage, right? Exactly. I think the high-scoring game gives Florida Gulf Coast the advantage in this case here. Just because that fits what they're doing.
They're an offensive firepower.
It fits what they're doing, right? So I gave them the win.
Nice. I gave them the win as well. Yeah, 1-0. Moving into Jacksonville, was 3-4 coming into this week. They did end up beating Bethune-Cookman 69-64 in the Sunshine Slam at Daytona Beach. Ended up losing 68 to 53 against Pacific in that next game. So for me, with them playing against Florida A&M here. Florida A&M's 0-4. Yeah. It's really hard to, if we want to really get into the semantics here, JU's held all mid-major opponents that they played other than High Point under 70 points a game. FAMU has only gotten over 70 once in their 4 games that they've played. with Jacksonville, we talked about it last week. I think they're a pretty solid team defensively. They have little cracks every now and then, but yeah, they're overall really solid team defensively.
Yep.
I see it being another win for the Dolphins.
I do too. I think you nailed it. I don't really have anything to add to what you just described. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty solid win. Got to score. Jacksonville's got to find that element of consistent scoring. Right?
Yeah,
we've seen a game.
Well, they're shuffling the starting five. I think they're trying to find that consistent
combinations
scoring.
that work. Yeah, but they have 2 weeks in a row where they've won a game in the scoring in the upper 60s, and they've lost a game scoring in the low 50s.
Yeah.
So just a little bit
find that consistency.
Exactly. Yep.
Moving into Lipscomb, who's 3-4, also a big week.
Another team that has turned their season
completely turned it around. 83-62 win over Western Carolina. Did not see that one coming with the previous opponents that it played against both, like the rebounding differential there. Right. Lipscomb was great. And then also got a 90-67 victory over Marshall on the 26th. That was another really, really nice one. Mateo Esmeraldo, first ever career double-double in assists in that game.
Second. It's the second one.
Second?
Yeah.
Career double-double?
Second career double.
No, it wasn't.
I think it's second.
Anyway. No. Yeah, I mean, well, give me your points on Lipscomb. I'll look it up while you're...
I think Lipscomb, obviously we saw the scoring there, right? So the 2 games coming up, Southeast Missouri, they're a low rebounding team. I think Lipscomb's going to have the advantage there. High foul count. Lipscomb shoots great from the stripe. They're actually leading the ASUN conference.
What was his second double-double? You were right. I messed up.
That's all right. Oh, good. Thank you for checking.
Yeah.
And I think Lipscomb's 3-point shooting right now. Ethan Duncan's he's found a niche, even though I think he's coming off the bench recently, but he's really clicking from threes. I think that's an advantage, I think, for Lipscomb for the first game.
Yeah.
Against Southeast Missouri. So maybe I just gave away who I thought was going to win.
That's okay.
Got anything to add to that contest?
With SEMO and with Tennessee Tech here, well, Lipscomb, I just think they figured out. SEMO's lost every D1 they've played against outside of Cal Poly.
Yeah.
And then with Tennessee Tech they're not a great shooting team from beyond the arc or at the line.
Right.
I don't see Lipscomb slowing down to a team like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've got 2 wins. Again, I think they figured it out.
I got 2 wins
really
as well.
Clicking. These 2 teams don't provide any statistical advantage that I saw. Significant one that you could say that they would roll out that way. So we'll go 2-0.
Nice. Well, 3-4. North Alabama is up next. They didn't end up dropping one. Their only D1 contest that they played this week. Chattanooga 71-57, 192-60 against UT Southern. Head coach Tony Poolhole had a really interesting comment at the end of that game. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to run with the guys that are going to give me the most complete 40-minute effort." I think they're really trying to figure out who that is right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. That was a good point. Tony is usually very calculated with what he says. Mm-hmm. Very heartfelt. Right, he's a straight shooter. So it was, it was a great catch or a great find.
Right.
To hear that.
Upcoming for them, Jacksonville State 3-3, and then also going against the 5-2 San Francisco Dons. Both games in December here, the 1st and the 3rd. So what do you got as far as what's kind of important heading into this week for the Lions?
Yeah, in both road games. So time to really gut check yourself. Another team where the record doesn't and the eye test doesn't really match what we thought was going to happen preseason.
Yeah,
I like what I see on the court from them in general. Right, I really do, offensively and defensively. North Alabama, I'm talking about what I think they still are for me, they're too one-dimensional offensively.
Right.
They get stuck a bit there. I don't think I haven't really seen that change consistently. Jacksonville State, their numbers are a little inflated. I think they've had a couple early season games against non-Division I opponents that bumped their numbers up. They're a low-scoring squad. The diversity that UNA has potentially from an offensive perspective, all being one-dimensional, gives them an advantage there, in my opinion.
Okay.
San Francisco, excellent shooting team. Excellent shooting team. Will really challenge UNA's length and strength there on both ends. In all parts of the court on the defensive end. That's kind of, and that's a slow tempo game too. So can UNA be disciplined in a slow tempo game? to manage and still be efficient.
That's what you're thinking
That's
about.
what I'm thinking about when I think about that San Fran game.
Okay. Well, for me,
tell me about what you got. Tell me about.
Yeah, 2 of 3 of the teams that J-State's played, they average less than 70 points per game. 2 of the 3 teams that J-State has lost to, average less than 70 points per game. So I think that's going to be a slow-paced game as well.
Yeah.
J-State is on a 3-game slide as well. With the Dons, though, they're currently on a 4-game win streak. And the West Coast Conference is being talked about as possibly one of the best conferences in NCAA, or at least maybe the most underrated conference in the NCAA this year. So for me, I think it's going to be both slow-paced games. I don't really think that fits to UNA's style at all.
Right.
I think that it's going to be, once again, unfortunately, for a team that I think on paper is one of the best in the echelon of the conference.
Right.
0-2.
Do you think they're going to struggle offensively from the pace?
I think, I really think they are. Yeah, it's going to be that. Because I think when it's a slow-paced game, it creates more opportunity for individualism,
right? Which
is something that you've been talking about. Maybe they kind of got to get away from,
right?
Play a little bit more team basketball rather than having isolation and score.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's gonna potentially cause a flaw for them.
Right.
But same thing. I hope they get 2 W's.
Sure, of course. Right. I have them at 1-1. I think they're going to beat Jacksonville State. I think Jacksonville State doesn't score enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think UNA's diverse ability, athletic ability, and basketball skills are going to just carry them in that game. But the San Fran game's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I get them a loss on that one. So.
For North Florida.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. North Florida. Do you have any more points we want to get into before then?
Good.
Okay, so for the North Florida Ospreys, 1-5 coming into this week, dropped 92-83 against Southern Miss, high-scoring affair, and then another high-scoring one, 85-82. Both of them in the Pensacola Invitational. They lost to Prairie View in that second game. Upcoming for them, though, on the 29th, they're going to play Trinity College of Jacksonville and then SIU Edwardsville. 4-2 coming in this week here. What do you got for North Florida for keys for this week?
Right. Well, I didn't really evaluate the Trinity College team at all to provide much input to that.
Right. Well, Trinity College Jacksonville lost to ASUN teams prior this year, so that's
just a general expectation.
Non-Division One. Yes, general expectation. That's a W
of a local game that benefits both teams from a local perspective, but from an outcome perspective, it's usually not right. SIU defends the arc well.
Yeah,
we know that's been a hallmark of the North Florida team, but I think you got a point to make about. I'll let you make the point about that, how they are this year, right? But that's just a stat. I'm interested in to see how that plays out in this contest,
right?
I think North Florida wins. I'll give a little bit away, but this is an if. Right, if they continue to get secondary scoring, we've talked about Cam Oriole, how dynamic he's elevated his game this year. Ken Jackson, a consistent threat from the outside, but the last couple of games we've seen, not on both ends of the floor, BJ Plummer, Mason Lee really step up their game. So let's hope that rolls and continues to roll. Yeah, so I think those are keys to them carrying this game.
Yeah.
So go ahead and fire away, and then we'll talk about our.
You talked about the 3-point defense. They're a top 50 team in the country at it. So I think the 3-point defense, while North Florida isn't as much of a 3-point shooting team as they were in years prior, it's still a very, very, very heavy component of their game. So if SIU's able to completely able to take that away, that could develop into a problem for North Florida as this game develops here.
Right.
Because of that, I got 1-1. You think it's gonna be what?
I got them winning that SIU game. I think again, I'm relying heavily on Lee, Plummer, Dalton too. I mean, you're right. They drive, kick. We saw it at the Wofford game. Cam Oriole was being hard defended. He still get inside, but he would spit it out and force and for threes.
Well, and towards the end of that game too, they had to force up a lot of threes because they were falling behind.
They had to in that game. I think here the score stays tighter. They don't have a 10-minute run at the beginning of the game without taking a break.
Yeah. Well, they gotta figure out. So they've gone against Wofford, against I'm looking back in last week, Southern Miss and Prairie View. They all had leads heading into halftime. They dropped it in the second half. Teams are figuring out we can score inside on these guys. We got to work it inside more.
Yep.
Gotta find an answer for that because we're letting up way too many points in the paint.
Yeah, exactly. And SIU does score inside. They only shoot 20 points 23s per game. So that's another part.
You're
of
talking
the
yourself
chance.
out of it now.
No. I think they're going to win. I think there's a little bit of momentum going now. I like some of the contributions from a deeper
From a depth perspective.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Queens is 3-4 heading into this next week. Here they did lose 90-79 against Furman. Got completely out rebounded in that game, which was the cautious optimism or the cautious. Why I gave Queens the cautious win last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Was because I said if they get out rebounded, they're not going to win this game.
Right.
That turned it out to be the case. Hopefully, much better luck this week as they play Virginia later tonight, and then Virginia's 5-1, by the way.
Right.
Then in December 3rd, they're going to play 0-7 Gardner Webb. For me, looking at Gardner Webb being 0-7, I just kind of counted that as a non-Division I game a little bit. I hope I'm probably underestimating the Running Bulldogs 110% when it comes to that. Virginia, though, top 75 offense and defense in the country. That's going to be a much tougher event tonight.
Yeah.
That's going to be that's going on at 4 o'clock later, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, and UVA's only scored 80 points. Less than 80 points one time. Their one loss they had their last game. That's the only time they've scored under 80. But their schedule hasn't been overly tough.
Mm-hmm. Queens is a high-flying offense as well. They're definitely an offensive team. Love shooting the three. We were talking about it last week, how much they rely on the three as well.
Right.
You were definitely, especially.
Yep.
Want to give you your credit where your credit is due. But what other key stats do you see for them?
Rebounding is going to be tough in the UVA game. UVA's got a massive rebounding advantage, and Queens is about even.
Over 45 per game. They're 11th in the country.
And they're like plus 13 or 15 or something like that as far as the differential goes. So Queens wins if shoot the lights out, and if they massive improvement.
Put more effort on the boards. Yeah.
It's not, I don't even know it's necessarily effort. They're just not cohesive with their play. And we see it on dribble drives. We see it on and then on rebounding as well. I think we see there's just it's just not clean.
Little
looking.
UNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's not. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Gardner Webb a win. Gardner Webb gives up 53% shooting percentage against, and teams and 63% from inside the arc.
Oh gosh. Yeah. You got to improve those numbers.
And we know Queens can get inside and finish, get fouled a lot, and kick it out for threes. So yeah, I think their offense sets up great for that game. So victory.
I got 1-1 though.
Same.
What do you got?
Same.
You got 1-1.
Same. Yep.
Moving into Stetson now. So with Stetson, they ended up beating VMI 99-80 in this one. For this one, I predicted a loss last week for that one. Yep. I did not expect Stetson to be this fired offensively as they were. The threes were finally falling in that game for him. Jamie Phillips Jr., very, very, very big hot zone. I'm not going to expose where his hot zone is, but he was shooting it from his hot zone, and he was getting it done from that NBA range. So, yeah, it is good to see him finally getting that arc down. Wright State, 79-62 loss. That one, I mean, it's Wright State. Wright State's a good team.
Yeah, they are.
So not going to discredit Stetson too much for that one. I definitely think I underestimated Stetson last week. I'm not going to underestimate him this week at all when it comes to just how I'm feeling about the team overall as a future.
Yep.
First, this upcoming week on the 29th, they're going to be playing against Southern Utah, who's 2-5. Another November game on the 30th, they're going to be playing Robert Morris. Both of these are in the Urban Bennett Invitational, which is held at Robert Morris, Morris's arena. So it's a home game for Robert Morris. Obviously, that it goes in big. Robert Morris hasn't lost a game at home yet this year. Just a point I want to throw out there.
That's right.
What points do you got?
I think you're 4-0, right? Something like that. Yeah, I used to live a few minutes from there.
Yes, you did.
Yep. So for the Southern Utah game, they don't defend the arc well. Really, it's like a 13-point differential. They score. They only shoot it 28% and give it up at 41%. And we know Stetson can shoot three.
Yes.
We just talked about that, how they got really hot earlier in the week there. So that to me is the key stat for that game. The Robert Morris game, lower scoring, big rebounding advantage for Robert Morris.
For the Colonels.
For the Colonels that they've had. And Stetson's the opposite of that from a rebounding. And can they defend on the inside in that game as well? So those are kind of the key areas for me. How about yourself? What do you got?
Well, I just don't. Yeah, we same points you had there. Pretty much, I've got for. I don't see him losing to a Southern Utah team that hasn't won a D1 game this year.
Right.
Both of them are outside of Division I. I think it's a home game for RMU. I think it's definitely going to be a win there for RMU as well. But I hope same thing. Hope I'm wrong. Hope it's 2-0 week. I got 1-1 though.
Yep, 1-1. Boy, you can't tell we're father son and son father at all. We'd never think
we never think alike at all. Well, actually, speaking of never think alike, 4-3 West Georgia. So you have been gung ho on this team since get go. I have not. I've been wanting them to prove it to me. 4-3. I'm done sleeping on them. I got a message from a player. I'm not going to say what player it was, just because that wouldn't be right. But yeah, I got a message. We got a message from a player on our social media. Told us to stop sleeping on him. I'm awake now. I'm here. I'm all in on Wolves basketball. 72-64 win over USC Upstate on the 21st. Then on the 23rd, they did end up losing to 82-66 in another 30-minute. We competed throughout the entire 30 minutes contest against another Power 4, Power 5. Basketball's Power 5. I'm going to keep calling it Power 5. Yep. Upcoming for the week, though, December 1st at Troy, going to Alabama for this one. What do you think are the key components heading into this one?
Troy can score. They've scored 100 points 4 times this year, right? 10.4, a little over 10 steals per game. So they've got some really disruptive stuff they can do. The turnover battle, I think, is going to be an important stat for this one, right? I said Kent State. Troy is in the negative on that stat there, and we've seen consistent play from West Georgia. No matter who they're playing against, their style of play, they're confident, they're doing what they do. So, so there's that. So. Yeah. What you got to add as far as kind of what we see, the breakdown of the game?
Well, Troy's a strong team. They're much stronger than their 5-4 record shows. As you said, they're a very high-scoring team. But the Wolves have proven in every mid-major game that they've played, no matter what style of game it is, they've had a high-scoring win, and they've also had some low-scoring wins.
Right.
They've proven they can get it done against every mid-major opponent that they played against this year. Their only losses are 2 Power 4 or 5 teams.
Right.
So I got to give the W to West Georgia in this one, 1-0.
Okay, I did, and I actually went with Troy here, and here's the reason why. Shooting attempts. Troy shoots it a lot, so the win for West Georgia comes if they can win the shot attempt battle. If they can control how many, either through rebounds, turnovers, that stuff there, that will drive them to win. But so far for the year, we've seen Troy dominate in this. They get more shots off. That's how they win the game.
And that's how you're thinking they're going to win?
Yeah, so, okay. Yep. So that's the only reason that's the difference where I say they have the win.
Interesting. West Georgia's going to be mad at you. I've been all in on them. So anyways, that's going to complete our week here, our episode 16. Let us know down in the comments if you want to see something else, or if you're enjoying what we're currently doing. Please sure to smash that like button. And if you're not already subscribing, please do the same, because it helps us out a lot. Thank you again for sticking with us the whole way through here. And until then, take care.
Bye, everybody.